Hello everyone and welcome to the Topical Hour. Subnautica Below Zero is a terrific game but a terrible sequel all in all. The truth is, the first Subnautica game is an all-timer in terms of quality, fun, content, clever game design, and somehow even story. There's not really a single bad part of the original Subnautica. It's a great scavenge/craft game that always allows for you to be doing something at any given time. In a lot of ways, the design of both Subnautica games is superior to ones like Minecraft or Raft, in that the design feels a lot more intricate and laid out, and resources feel more strategically designed to it. And both games feel a lot more intuitive for players. Obviously, sometimes the game will unnecessarily hold information from you that there are very few ways of getting, but not nearly as badly as Minecraft does. By the way, if you don't like the Minecraft comparisons, there's going to be quite a few, so buckle up. Minecraft is kind of notorious in that, yes, pretty much any gamer knows how to play and has before, but anyone who hasn't is kinda out of luck. The game Minecraft, in retrospect, explains so little to the player that it's a bit laughable. For Subnautica, you have the PDA, which is intrinsically designed even in the world of the game to help you. And there's the scanner, which tells you everything you need to know about anything you scan, which is good. From here, you scan all tools, gear, vehicles you need, or you can pick up the blueprints from data boxes, which is also cool, but there's an intrinsic difference between the two. See, Subnautica has a story, and there's an argument to be made that Minecraft has lore, but it most definitely does not have a story for the layman to follow. And there's a big problem here, because most of the fun in Subnautica comes from the handcrafted tools, vehicles, and overall content to be had, whereas most of the fun in Minecraft is to do literally whatever you want with honestly fewer different tools, but more variations and progression to your loadout. In Minecraft, you pretty much always progress the same way to do more, but you don't always know what more is. The game gets more different the longer you go on, kinda like in chess. Subnautica is the opposite. The end goal doesn't change, but you pretty much do things in whatever order you want to get there. The problem with that, especially in Below Zero's case, is that you have to physically go out of your way to create new mechanics that will be exhausted by every player who beats the game. Maps that will be explored by every player. Upgrades that will be crafted. Rooms that'll be built. Modules that'll be attached. You can use an iron sword to mine anything in Minecraft. You can use anything to interact with anything in lots of similar crafting games. In games like Minecraft, you give the player mechanics to make their own fun. In Subnautica, like more AAA games, you have to go out of your way to create the hours of content that gamers want. By the way, this is your reminder to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. The original Subnautica does a superb job of this. On your first playthrough to just beat the game, it will take up to 20 or 30 hours depending on how much you look up or know beforehand. I think that game struggles a little bit like Minecraft does with not needing information going in, like where to find the multi-purpose room or beds. Things like those that feel like they should be available at the beginning of the game, but the game doesn't actually put you on their course for quite a while. But more on Below Zero itself, it's also got a story, which the original did not, and the story is kind of Chud Beaks. Like, the whole premise of the game is that we're a scientist named Robin trying to find our sister, but honestly that doesn't really end up mattering at all by the end of the game. We first meet some island woman that's essentially mastered the planet this game is based on. She's taken down Leviathan-class creatures, tamed a snow stalker, modded a prawn suit, has several outposts, and seems to have a distaste for Altera, the overarching evil company that likes to cover things up. But alien comparisons aside, Robin has to prove she's not with Altera and go on a fetch quest to get the island woman, Marguerite, to trust her. Once she accomplishes this, Marguerite tells us some info about her sister, and that's it. At least that's all you get from the actual game outside of data collection. Now, if you want another comparison for this game, it's Spider-Man Miles Morales. In the case of the Insomniac Spider-Man games, the Miles Morales game has always been a bit of a weird middle child in terms of quality and type of game. It's good, but it's short and the story isn't particularly well done. But it's still necessary for the larger story of those games because of the real Morales stuff and the fact that Miles gets all his auxiliary powers in that game. Below Zero is kind of the same. The story isn't very good, and the gameplay is good, but not enough of a departure from the first game, not enough new stuff. But more on the story, I admire that they tried to have a lot more of it, with a main character that can actually talk now and a companion in the architect Alan. And honestly, there were occasional cute dialogue moments every once in a while, and some interesting musings and explanations about the architects and what they used to do. Like I said, just like the Miles Morales game, this game will be essential viewing for the next one, and there are rumors of a next one. And because the next game has taken so long after this one, I can only imagine that it's going to be a lot bigger, similar to how Spider-Man 2 was compared to the first two games in that series. A lot of similarities all around. But as for the game as a whole, I'm just not sure. On the gameplay side, I think that there are enough changes to justify its existence. I mean, the Sea Truck is honestly a terrific concept for a vehicle, but now we don't have the Cyclops or Seamoth, and I honestly think the Cyclops fits better in Below Zero than the original in some ways. You got the Mineral Finder device, which is actually really useful in assisting the player, and you got some Altera outposts that are usually for story and blueprints for new stuff. And that's kinda it for the new stuff. The prawn suit returns again without any upgrades. Most of the base building stuff also comes back without too many changes, other than the large room and things like that. I'll acknowledge that a lot of the more annoying stuff from the first game is very streamlined. Bigger rooms, easier to craft some items, easier to find some loot, and overall a smoother experience. The map is kind of cool as well, with most areas looking completely different from the first game, which is a pretty cool achievement, although there's not a ton of reason to explore it. A lot of progression in this game is achieved by going back and forth between specific points on your HUD, and there's not much reason to explore outside of that. In the last game, you just kind of look around until you find what you're supposed to do. Now, this is a bit tangential, but this game just has less sauce in general. You felt real pride when you constructed the Cyclops or the Prawn for the first time. In this game, everything is practical and a means to an end. Yeah, the crystal caves in the endgame are cool, but you swim right past them to complete the game. The sea truck, while a genuinely awesome gameplay feature and idea, is the most boring vehicle I've ever seen in a video game. There's nothing cool or saucy in this game. Everything is sterile and practical and cold. Even the little pangling drone things are only used a single time, and it's technically optional if you want to skip some game progression. In fact, that's another issue. A lot of the stuff in this game is optional. The spy pangling is optional, the snowsuit is optional, the snow fox is optional. Not that it's bad to have optional content, but it feels like these things were just shoved into the game for no really good reason. To have cool stuff, maybe. A lot of style, but no substance. Same with those crystal caverns and some of the new creatures. The gameplay fails in that there's just so little outside of the first game to do. It's kind of fun using a few new mechanics and some streamlining, but it's just not different enough. For the story, the stuff with Alan and the architect's plot is cool and allows for progression in the game as a whole, but wildly overshadows the sister stuff and largely makes the player stop caring about why Robin is on the planet in the first place, at least from what I can tell. It sacrifices a lot of the story and emotional beats, or the lack thereof, for the sake of the plot. Now the Subnautica games have a plot. We want to find out what happened to Robin and where she and Alan went, but we really don't care about her sister or what Altera did, or the virus samples on the planet. Honestly, we don't even really care about Marguerite by the end of the game. And I think all of these fundamental problems bring Below Zero down as a sequel. It's really not a bad game in a vacuum, and if this game came out before the original, it'd probably be just as beloved, even if there's a bit less iconicism. So I think this game deserves a 6 out of 10. I really think it shouldn't have been the same price point as the original, and I really hope that the next one is truly just as game-changing as the last one. And if not, I think it'll be safe to say that Subnautica makes a great game, but a bad series. I've seen a lot of other reviews of this game because everyone seems to agree that it's a disappointing entry in this series. And while it's funny that there's such a high amount of reviews in this game specifically, I don't think the ones I've seen really encapsulate what's wrong with this game. It is in fact a labor of love, and it does try to improve things from the last game, but it does that so much that it forgets to just innovate and provide a reason to buy this game other than it's better. Anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another one. Or not, that's fine. Play nice, people.